This is a continuation of last podcast where I showed you all the things that you need to do, or told you all the things that you need to do to make your podcast great. And now we're going to talk about editing your podcast and preparing it for social media. And now I chose to make this a part 2, but it's probably going to be a more condensed version because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the technique and the technology. The number one pitfall people do when they jump into something is overwhelm themselves. Hey, you're not going to be perfect on day one. That's fine. You don't need to hire someone to edit your podcasts. You can do them yourself. But if you want to hire someone, or if you have a social media team already on payroll and you're just launching this, it's okay to use them. But you need to be okay if you have none of that to be able to release content that you're comfortable with, content that you're connected to. And editing and technology is going to be an adventure and fail you multiple times. When I started this podcast, there'd be episodes where I'd be in the middle of a podcast, I'd lose power. I'd be in the middle of a podcast and someone would call my phone. I'd be in the middle of a podcast and the audio would be disconnected. I'd be in the middle of a podcast and a light bulb would go out, or technology would fail, or I would record it and I'd have to re-record it because the technology would collapse and just stop functioning. All these things happen, and I can tell you, it is extremely frustrating when you've been spending 6 hours to record a podcast, get the content right, go into the editing room and see that your podcast has failed. On part one, I forgot my backlight, and my backlight wasn't on. So the backdrop behind me was a little dim, a little dark, didn't have the pop and the pizzazz that it has. And when I added it, it came back. So here's it with that gone, and here's the pizzazz back. But I can't be frustrated with that. I had to learn how the Holy Spirit teach me both patience and patience with myself, because I tend to have more patience with people who work with me. We all are kind of like this puzzle piece that works together. It's a different philosophy, I know, but I'm more harsh on myself than I am on anyone else. And frankly, these podcasts could be 10,000 times better. They could, but I have to choose my time investment. So you have to be okay with releasing something you think is not going to be top tier, best production ever. And you make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You can edit them out. You'll find content that you continuously will prune out of your podcast as you train yourself what to say, and you teach yourself how not to use filler words, and you listen to your voice back, and you want to make changes, and you know which examples to use, which examples not to use. And editing a podcast is one of the greatest experiences a content creator can do if you're cultivating your podcast. In fact, it was recorded right before I upload part 1. So this part of the process, the post-production process, generally works great when you do a lot of pre-production. And I have clients that ask me to do commercials. And I try to do a lot of pre-production, a lot more than most people are used to. It's actually really strange. I walked into a room once where the client told me, hey, are you going to let us into the pre-production process? Are you going to let us, how does this work? Or are you just going to send us a final version and it is what it is? What I do is, I want you to be happy because I want you to keep coming back for more. I want you to keep coming back for campaigns. I want you to keep coming back, hiring me for more and more things. I love referrals. I love it when one part of a company refers another part of the company. Love it. But if I don't deliver something that you're going to love and I just stick you with it because the contract says I have creative control, it's not going to help you accomplish your goal. It's not going to help you succeed. And frankly, that's not doing your job right. No offense. Cinema is an art. Filmmaking is an art. But creating a commercial for a client isn't an art. It's a professional job plus your art. But if the client advises you do X, if the data advises you do X, and you choose to do Y because you think you're better than the data or better than the client, it's probably not a good idea to do. Now, I do warn clients when I know from experience, hey, this is the best way to do it. I strongly recommend we stay here. And if they're like, no, I really want to change that. I really like to do this instead. I'm like, hey, just warning you. I believe you get the maximum effect if you do X. It's your choice at the end of the day to do Y, and you did hire me to give you my recommendations. You did hire me as a consultant, and as a consultant, I recommend you do A, not X. Sometimes they choose X. And if they do, I will honor their choice because I work for them. It's a service industry. I'm serving them in the service of their commercial, their campaign, whatever it is, website, etc. They're not going to be perfect, and you're not going to 100% know their business. You know your business, they know their business, and you guys need to meet in the middle. In pre-production, if you plan your podcast out, you and ChatGPT write a script, write bullet points, you review them, you make changes, you do research, you check ChatGPT if you're using ChatGPT. I know I'm saying it a lot and people are like, oh my God, don't use a clanker, blah, 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 blah. Hey, using ChatGPT is not bad. It's going to help you with writer's block. It's going to help you. You can use it. I'm not saying not to use it. It's better if you put things in your own words, in your own context, and you use your own examples because people can connect with that. And it's more authentic than just yapping about whatever ChatGPT said, because then you're just literally just saying what an AI model generated. It's not you. Podcasts are you on a plate. It's like a best podcast would be like your signature dish, in front of Gordon Ramsay. That's what a podcast is. It's you. It's the raw, authentic version of you, not the trimmed version, not the produced version, not some talent agency or some brand professional telling you, I want you to do X, I want you to look Y, I want you to do Z. No, it's you. Now, you may have professionals that tell you, don't say X in your podcast. You need to fix that. Don't say this. Don't do this. Fix this. Growing and improving your podcast is something that's always going to happen. I tell all of my clients this. Never, never, never say to me, we'll fix that in post. I will never say that. My cinematographer will do something, oh, we can fix it in post. I will look at him like this, dead in the eye, and say, we'll reshoot it. Thank you very much. And he's going to be like, why? Well, because A, post-production is the most expensive and costly component of all of my invoices. If I don't mitigate the issues in pre-production and the issues in production, I do pre-production tests. For a local city, we did a bunch of arrows going around, like it's kind of like these 3D light streaks, and I actually tested that with test footage before we went into production to know what worked and what wouldn't work. And we tailored the shots to work with the effect we wanted. It's the same kind of thing. It's all about preparedness and preparation. The more prepared you are, the easier it is that you're going to be able to go in and do what you need to do. When you transition into production and you turn on your lights, you check your audio, you're listening to your audio, you see your audio levels, you see your video that you're recording, like have a preview monitor. Mine's right here in the corner, and I can look at the camera, then occasionally look at the preview monitor. I love the new iPhone Airs, the new iPhone selfie camera, because it shoots vertically, and you can literally sit there and talk to it like this and see yourself. And it's awesome, as opposed to having just portrait. It does vertical as well, and it's awesome. It's good sensor. Now, I haven't edited the footage yet of a new iPhone because, frankly, of that iPhone Air is speaking to me. He's speaking to me. Although, for personal reasons, I don't think I'd actually use an iPhone Pro 17 as my replacement camera for podcasting. So, there's that. But you're seeing yourself, you're hearing yourself, you've done the lights, you've done the work, you've tested shadows so you don't see shadows that you don't expect. You get used to seeing things like sometimes cinematic mode will do weird things. You're just making sure everything's right. You record it and you're recording it well. You're double checking to make sure that you're hearing yourself, that your audio is not going out, that your video is not going out, you're not losing signal in the middle of your podcast. All those things are extraordinarily important. If you do lose signal, you do lose stuff, you run out of battery. Particularly, I always recommend that you have cameras on the charge, not batteries in the charger. I mean, literally AC adapters to all of your cameras, AC adapters to all of your lighting. Don't use anything on battery. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. My iPhone currently is not on charge. It's not directly connected to the computer. It's using Wi-Fi, but I also have dedicated Wi-Fi for it, which is literally like right behind this computer's right there. So I can't recommend that. I always prefer hardline power to lights, power to laptops, power to cameras. Don't use batteries. Do not trust that a battery is charged, not going to fail you, that you're not going to lose Wi-Fi signal. Always better to have a hardline experience. You can use any editor. as long as it's a manual editor. Don't use an AI tool. None of the AI tools out there right now are going to work for you. Descript has a phenomenal script-based editor. I can't recommend you use it because it's a cloud-based editor. I don't recommend anyone use cloud-based editors because you're uploading footage to the cloud and then it has to come back down. It's just a waste of time, waste of space, and to be honest, it's a waste of your money. But they also have an AI feature. I think it's called Overlord or something like that, or Underlord, I think, because it's not Overlord, but whatever. It's not great because if you make mistakes, which natural people will do, every podcast people will make mistakes. Sentences are not going to be finished. Words, people are going to trip over words. People are going to mispronounce things. Everyone is going to make a mistake. AI is going to look at the text and take the first take every time. First take, which is usually the worst take to use, and then delete the other takes and connect them together. And you're like, whoa, no. Always use the last take because that's generally the best take. But it's only editing based off of text. It is not editing based off of tone and inflection, based off of my preliminary tests a month or two ago. Of course, I can do that. There's a mess up right there. I'm going to keep that one in so you know that that can be edited, and those edits happen all the time. You can mess up. It's no problem. Sure, the technology will grow. Sure, the technology will expand and get better. But for now, use iMovie, Final Cut, Adobe Premiere. If you use Adobe Premiere, you can also do caption generation, things of that nature. You won't be able to do animated captions. I had to buy a separate app to do that. But you'll be able to take manual control and listen to everything in real time. Strongly recommend that you edit and listen to your own podcast, especially the first 10, 15, 20 podcasts. So you'll get used to how you say things. You'll get used to how to deliver things. You'll watch your eyes, listen to your words. Like, this is what I recommend. Play your podcast, pick one that you've done, listen to the raw footage, just listen to it. Don't look at it, just listen to it. Then see it, put it on mute and just watch it. And just doing that over and over again will subconsciously hone you in. Sometimes use prompter. This is completely unprompted. This is unscripted. This one and the other one, well, I guess not unscripted. I do have notes, but there is no prompter attached to the iPhone at this time. Don't use any cloud systems. Disable on your computer now. If you have Windows, turn off OneDrive. Delete it, uninstall it, move it away from your system, especially if you're editing. Also, OneDrive is a security risk, especially if people do session hijacking, and it can get really, really bad. But that said, iCloud is less likely to get hacked and those kinds of things because you get that, you have to have a different device and it is encrypted. But still, turn it off. Turn off iCloud documents and downloads and desktop sharing. Turn it off because you don't want to be in the middle of an edit and have an old version of the edit accidentally sync down and you lose information, you lose footage, larger files take a long time to upload back and forth, and the operating system will take control of your file storage versus you. You want to take full complete storage. Plus, cloud syncing takes a lot of processing, and a lot of Windows machines don't have very great caching, and you have RAM issues and all sorts of things. So just disabling it speeds up your computer. Also, if you're editing, unofficially it will tell you to turn off your antivirus because it slows you down. Of course, that's unofficial. You got to turn it back on. Don't browse the web while you edit. Disconnect from the web while you edit. It's always safe, but and only have the editing machine open. Don't have Chrome open, don't have 15 tabs, don't have Safari, don't have just Adobe Premiere. Now, I have paid for an Apple MacBook that's one of them, I think Max chips or something like that, that is a little bit more power and I can do a lot more things, and it's designed for that. If you have an older Mac or a Windows machine that's not a gaming machine, that's not very suited up, or it's a cheap laptop, one app at a time. Also, I strongly recommend that you switch to Mac and you use a Mac Mini. It's a great platform for doing almost anything editing, and it's cheaper than the Macs. But of course, if you have some money to lay around, and a MacBook Air will do wonders for you. I say that because you'll have less issues with drivers and updates and things interfering with Adobe. Although Adobe's updates themselves will interfere, I don't recommend that you have any auto update. Turn all your auto update stuff off. Always know where to uninstall, and if you have issues, revert to an older version. Try to save your version so that it's not locked into a specific project version. You drop your audio down, you drop your video down, you do your lip sync. Remember we talked about clap sync, and that will sync your audio. If you're recording audio, even on your mobile phone, audio will always get off because the video and audio are printed separately. They're not printed in the same pipeline. So actually, I found that on an iPhone with cinematic mode turned on, it will write the video like this, and the audio will be about 3 frames behind. Almost perfectly 3 frames behind. Sounds like a software glitch to me. Depends on the version of update you're using. Go in, remove remove mistakes. Don't worry about it. If you rabbit trail, delete those rabbit trail moments. It's okay. Trim it down so it's 20 to 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the most when you're starting off. If you have a niche that really works and people are really connected to, and you're starting to see your YouTube views go up, you're starting to see your Spotify views go up, and you're starting to see them stay longer, great, you can do longer ones. Like if you're doing the famous murder podcast, okay, those might be very long, right? Because you have people who are engaged and want to get that content. But as you're experimenting and learning how to do it, don't worry about overdoing it with too much content. Don't worry about it. Also, don't worry about posting. If you want to post once a week, pick a date, pick a time, post. Pre-schedule if you can. If you make a mistake and you miss a deadline and you have to go through, like the podcast can move. It sucks for your growth of your audience a little bit, but it's okay. Don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. The adventure of being a content creator is learning and growing. Don't beat yourself up when the technology fails. Don't beat yourself up if life happens, you get into a car accident, you get sick, etc. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep going, keep doing. Let the Holy Spirit inspire you to keep going and going and go. Let him give you energy, let him give you strength so that you can continue to pursue and not have to worry about, whether you're going to make it on time or whether this is going to happen. Like there are other deadlines in the world that are probably more important than your podcast. I get it, but as consistently as you can upload, please do that. For social media, you've done your podcast, right? Some people use lots of expensive intros, add lots of lower thirds. If you find the time to do it, go ahead. I don't. A lot of my content's well researched, so I'm more pre-production and less on the production mount, so you can hear it, 2 times it, and get the information I'm talking to you about. So I do less of the production, value the lower thirds, the on-screen graphics, that kind of thing, but it does help in certain conversations. In this particular conversation, this is more of me talking to you without having to show you a bunch of stuff, just sharing you tools and techniques. Building social media, you just want to find those 60-second, 30-second clips. Now, you can pop your transcript into ChatGPT, ask it to find viral clips that you can clip out, 12, 20 of them, or give you a whole strategy for specific platforms, however you want to generate it. And it can give you suggestions. Go in after you've done your podcast, save it as a new project, your social media project, clip it out, get rid of fluff, get rid of ums, get rid of pauses, get rid of all those kinds of things that you would normally get rid of the podcast, but even doubly so for your social media so that it's quick. Under 30 seconds, you're going to have higher watch time. When it's 60 seconds, you're going to have lower watch time, but you might get more views. It depends on how it works and how the algorithm likes your content. Remember, you want to find bits and pieces of the podcast that are complete thoughts or close to complete thoughts that you could put text hooks at the top and captions at the bottom, and someone's getting some nugget of information. You don't have to always say, go back to my podcast, look at my podcast. In fact, when you do that, the algorithm will downvote you, especially if you're new. If it's content that people are going to love, social media will throw it out at people. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, they're all interest-based media. You love this media, so we'll show you more media like it. You hate this media, so we're going to show you less media like it. So if you have a niche, if you have something you're passionate about, social media will help you find that audience. But it's also careful to test your consistency. So I recommend you continuously post reels, you continuously post new content, you have a content strategy. At minimum, post 1 a day. 3 o'clock, 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 9 p.m. Post at least once a day on all platforms. You can share the content across all platforms. There's no problem with repurposing the same clip across all platforms because you have different audiences on all platforms. However, certain content will perform better on certain platforms. That being said, content about Apple apparently works great across all platforms. So you're going to have content that work great across all platforms, and you can experiment and learn what works best and what times to post. And you can schedule everything. The YouTube Studio app allows you to schedule. The YouTube app lets you schedule. TikTok has a TikTok Studio app that lets you schedule. Instagram, you can now do scheduling. Facebook, you can now do scheduling. LinkedIn, you can do scheduling. So you can literally, in one day, create your podcast content, edit your podcast content, upload your podcast content, and all your social media strategy, and be hands-off the rest of the week, which is great for content creators, entrepreneurs, businesses like you, people who are passionate about content, can see growth. And you can make changes, and you can add organic posts in between there. Just make sure that you have a 4 to 5 hour window before each post. If you are posting at 3 p.m., don't post after 10 a.m. Right? So that way you allow your videos not to kind of compete with another, and you're not tricking the algorithm, and the algorithm to detect if you are trying to upload multiple different types of content in the same hour. You're going to find your views will go to like 0 for a little bit. Big bold text, that's like top here. If you're doing a portrait side, it's top here, and it's like, here's my hook. The number one sin businesses make. Okay, and then you have captions underneath at the very bottom where you read it. Now you have to have a safe area, so you can use Adobe Premiere to automatically create those texts. There's a lot of text templates. You can use your font, you can customize it. I use an app to do the animations because a lot of people see the word animation. So I edit in Premiere, put my hook in Premiere, export it, put it into that application. It runs the captions almost like that, exports. It takes a minute as opposed to opening in TikTok and worrying about using a mobile phone. Anything you can do to speed up the process, do. Don't compromise your authenticity. Don't compromise who you are. You want people to be able to understand your content, to be able to understand you, be able to connect to you. People don't connect with an ethereal podcast or an ethereal brand. They connect with you and your guests, and you're the host, and they establish a connection with what you're passionate about, and that's how you grow. Anything else is immaterial. So you don't have to have a world's greatest camera. You could use a webcam for all we care. Your audio still should sound good, but you could use not so great audio. And if the content is there, people will still like it. I can't tell you how many podcasts on the world could use a production upgrade like mine, but they still reach their audience because people love the content. If the content is connecting to your audience, matches with them, matches to their interests, they're going to be there. Content over quality. Content over quality. You still want that quality, but let yourself time to grow and experiment. Don't be perfect. If you make a mistake, oh well, who cares? That episode didn't perform, don't worry about it. In fact, don't look at the numbers as much as you do. Now, we could do a whole podcast on platforms. Maybe I will. I just want you to let you know in a secret, I use the Spotify platform and YouTube. Those are 2 platforms I use. I upload to YouTube and Spotify. Spotify automatically aggregates or posts to Apple Podcast Connect. I have an Apple Podcast Connect profile that I created. It's attached to the universe's whatever. I'm able to see the analytics from Spotify. Spotify tries to only show you Spotify's analytics, but it does show you others. It's not great for analytics. Apple has its own analytics. YouTube's analytics are far better than anything Spotify can provide at the current time, although Spotify owns Megaphone, which is like one of the premier platforms to use podcasts, but it's a paid platform, so who knew? Anyway, I don't think you should pay for a platform until your subscriber base has grown and until you're comfortable with releasing podcast content. Of course, when you are, and you start growing, you start getting sponsorships, and you start going into the world of monetizing your podcast, go ahead, invest in the technology, invest in the improvement, invest in the help, invest in the people. But hey, it's okay to take a couple hours out of your week to create a good podcast. It's okay. It's part of the process. Again, I pray right now that you embrace the podcast process, that you embrace the process of whatever God has put your hands to, that whatever you put your hands to will prosper. that you'll be given patience. You'll be given an inner peace. That technology won't frustrate you, that you'll be granted the ability to pursue that vision that God has placed deep in your heart, that thing that you're passionate about, the thing that gives you purpose, the thing that God has placed in your soul to accomplish. I pray right now that you get inspired to accomplish it, and that this helps you, gives you wisdom, understanding. The Lord give you wisdom, understanding, and peace on everything you do. I pray this in Jesus' mighty name.